My name is Nelson Karanja. Past 2 weeks here on Changamka Gospel, we've been exploring the way God works His miracles with us. God never really intended for us to labor in vain or to be trapped in situations where we just can't figure out how we get out. And the first week we talked about the ability to see. We said it's good that we see. What is it that we see? Because God expects us to see, and then from there, last week, we talked about getting there or being able to visualize that God has already done it. And we said, if you are weak, God says, say, I am strong. If you're poor, accept and say, I am rich. Now, today I want to look at the in-between. How do we transition from saying, I am strong, when all the circumstances surrounding you are screaming, you are poor. You want a job. But we are saying, yes, say, thank you God for this job you've given me, even before you actually see it, even before you actually get it. What happens here in between? What is it that God has put in place to actually enable that to happen? And I want to give you something from the greatest miracle that actually happens with us. Just before we come into this world, I want to give you one of the greatest mysteries of life. How did we come into this world? I want to tell you that a baby, that which we call a fetus in the mother's womb, it does not need to breathe with its nostrils. It does not actually take up any air through its nostrils. Yet research and even biology actually records that that baby in the mother's womb keeps on exercising the act of breathing. They don't need it in the stomach, they don't need it in the womb, but they keep on practicing it. They don't need to eat with their mouth. We all know that they are fed differently. Yet some have even been known to suck their thumb. Why? Because God has created in us the ability to start preparing for where we are going, the next step in our life. God has given us that ability to prepare. And this is the mystery, that child in the mother's womb, somehow God has put in it instinctively the knowledge that when they get out of that particular world that they are in, when they get out, they will need to suckle. And therefore, they practice the art of suckling. Why? Because suckling requires muscles. And if a child was to learn how to suckle when they are born, if they had not practiced and the muscles had not strengthened, they would actually die. If they had not learned how to breathe, way before they actually needed to breathe, when they get into the world, they would actually die, because there would be no time to learn how to breathe and actually exercise all the muscles that are actually required to breathe. So here is the mystery. God has put in all of us, just before we are born, He gives us to practice how to eat, practice how to breathe, so that when we get into this world, there is no time wasted. So in the womb, the baby lives as if it is breathing. In the womb, the baby lives as if it is actually eating with its mouth. It lives as if it's actually suckling with its mouth. Why? So that when it actually gets into this world, it actually is able to actually do that instinctively. That's the same thing. When God says, let the poor say, I am rich. It's the same way that the baby lives as if they are breathing, though they do not need to breathe at that particular moment. And it's the same principle. So when we say, I am strong, despite the fact that we feel we are weak, God has made provision for this transition. And I want to take you back to one word, where it says, it's God who works within us, both to will and to do. So all I need is, if I'm looking for a job, I need to thank God that He has given me a job. Now, everything could be screaming, you don't have a job. If I'm poor, everything is screaming, you are poor. But when I say I am rich, God puts within me the ability It says he gives us the power to will and to do. Instinctively, when our minds switch from lack to the position of actually having, when our minds switch from illness to being healed, God sets in motion the in-between. He gives us the will and to do. He gives us both to will and to do. In other words, just the way he gives a baby the desire to start suckling, even before it actually starts to suckle, the way he gives that baby the desire to start breathing, and they actually live like they are breathing. They live. If you look at that baby, you would actually think it's breathing. The same way. So the moment we tell God, yes, now I accept, you have given me this, you have healed me, then we live as if we are. What we need to do is accept that God will guide us to that which we need to do. That's why he says, whatever your heart fights to do, do it with all your strength or with all your might. Why? Because he gives you that desire to do it. This is Changamka Gospel. My name is Nelson Karanja. See you next week, same time, same channel. Thank you.